Mais la France a un rôle.
France has a role to play and a political responsibility towards Rwanda. It has a duty to face up to history and acknowledge the suffering it inflicted on the people of Rwanda by taking too long to recognize the reality.
All right, let's speak now to French-Algerian journalist and columnist Nabila Ramdani. Nabila, how significant is this visit by Macron to Rwanda, and why is it coming now?
It's a particularly significant visit. It's President Macron's first visit to Rwanda during his term in office, and it's aimed at normalizing relations between the two countries in particular, while also boosting cooperation in a number of sectors, including the economy and health, and especially in the context of the global fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. It is also the first visit by a French president to the Central African Republic in 11 years, and it's meant to extend efforts to recognize France's role in the 1994 genocide there. And as we heard in your report, even though President Macron publicly acknowledged France's overwhelming responsibility in the genocide, he also sought forgiveness for France's role in it, but he stopped short of apologizing for it. He recognized that France was then standing by the side of a genocidal regime, but he added that his country was not complicit in the genocide because the killers were not French. And even though this recognition was generally well received by the Rwandan president, Paul Kagame, who said it was a major step in the relationship between the two countries, and indeed it's the strongest public admission of responsibility from a French leader to date, he also qualified his comment by saying that the relationship between the two countries will never be entirely normal.
So what was France's role in the genocide exactly?
Well, remember that in 1994, around 800,000, mainly ethnic Tutsis, were killed by Hutu militias, and they were supported by the Rwandan government. And France has regularly been accused of failing to prevent the genocide and indeed of supporting the Hutu regime even after the massacres had started.
The Rwandan genocide took place 27 years ago, but France was a colonial power in Africa for centuries. What kind of colonial power was France?
Well, Macron's visit to Rwanda has to be put in the context of France's general policy towards the African continent. French leaders like Emmanuel Macron have a notoriously clumsy relationship with Africa for very obvious historical reasons. Many of the countries that they visit are former colonies, which by definition leads to a strained relationship. French leaders are always white males. They are inevitably involved in a game of power politics aimed at exploiting the African continent while also showing benevolence to it. And Emmanuel Macron doesn't get this balance right. I well remember him talking about Africa a few years ago, describing 7 or 8 children per woman, as if having large amounts of children was all African women really do. And so these tropes about a place that was once called the Dark Continent are very popular with Macron, who also spoke about civilizational problems caused by an escalating birth rate. And he said that this didn't just cause huge problems for Africa, but also for Western countries such as France and Britain, because so many Africans would want to emigrate. And more recently, Macron said that there would be no apology for France's brutal colonialism in Algeria, which is the largest country in Africa by land mass. And this was despite stating in 2017 during a visit to Algiers that there would be an apology for war crimes and indeed crimes against humanity. So there is no doubt that Macron is always trying to please as many people as he can, even if many of his promises are never fulfilled.
All right, Nabila Ramdani, thank you so much.